everyone, this is RonnygoBOOM, and today we're going to do a little bit of testing with the proximity detector. So, in the original design, you need 4 blocks from the center, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, before the pressure plate. And this is a little bit bulky, a little bit bulkier than I'd like it to be. And it also is optimized by using Ocelots. So I wanted to do a little bit of testing to see if you could go under it, first of all, and it turns out you can, and I've come up with some designs. And I also wanted to know if you could make a proximity detector behind a wall, if that would work. And I did, and it turns out that there are several designs that work pretty well, and I'll show you a couple of them. And it turns out that the wall detector works pretty well also. And if you raise the fence post, you can make it smaller and more effective. And I did a little bit of statistical analysis to show you with some bar graphs how effective, based on normal running by it, sneaking, sprinting, and using invisibility potions. So let's go back over here. So the first is with the fence post 4 blocks above the ground, and we're just going to run under it. And this is with 3 Ocelots, and you see it's already triggered several times. This is 5 above with 1 Ocelot, and it's already triggered, and it's triggering again. Now this is a pretty good system. Using it in the ceiling turns out to be very effective. This is 5 above, that means the fence post is 5 above the ground. It takes 3 Ocelots. That's pretty effective also. And the last is 6 above with 3 Ocelots. And it triggers, but it took a little bit longer. Now, I didn't do actual statistics on these ceiling platforms, but I just wanted to test and see if they'd work. Also, there's not a note block here, so if it hit one of those pressure plates, it didn't go off. Let's check out these over here. Now, if you have it flush with the ground, that fence post flush with the ground, you have to go 4 blocks away before you can put your pressure plates, which is kind of far. This makes it a little bit bulky. And it's going to be tough to hide that in a wall because you have to have a pretty deep wall behind it. Now the higher you lift your fence gate, your fence post, the closer you can get. Unless you want to have more than 1 Ocelot. If you have more than one Ocelot, you have to back up those pressure plates just a little bit. Now these over here are all some of the most effective. And I'll tell you exactly how effective they are with some statistics that I did just by testing. So for normal, all I did was I'd start here and I'd walk by, and if it triggered the pressure plates, I'd count it as a yes. If it didn't trigger the pressure plates by the time I left, then I'd count it as a no. So let's see how effective this last one is down here. So just by walking by it, there is a relatively low chance of triggering those pressure plates. It did it right now, but 2 out of 6 times was how often it only triggered those pressure plates 2 out of 6 times, and the other 4 out of 6 were no-goes. They didn't trigger that mechanism, which is not very effective. When sneaking by, we got 4 out of 6, which is pretty good, and when sprinting by, we only got 1 out of 6. While invisible, sneaking by, it's pretty well. So these orange will delineate invisibility, and that's how effective it is when you're sneaking invisible. And I just wanted to test to see if invisibility worked. It turns out that it doesn't matter what type of block this glass is. It could be transparent, it could be opaque, it could be any block. They can still affect those pressure plates through it. It's as if they can see you. It's as if they don't even need to see you. As soon as they're near you, they will run away to those pressure plates. So invisibility doesn't really affect it, and the type of block that's in between you doesn't really affect it. But what does affect it is the time exposure. So if you walk by normally, 2 out of 6, sneaking 4 out of 6, and sprinting 1 out of 6. Let's go to the next design. It's a little bit higher. This Ocelot is kept closer to the wall more often because that fence post keeps him closer, which brings this to 4 out of 6, which is significantly better. I know it's not a very big number of repetitions, but it took me a long test, and it's still an effective test. So 4 out of 6 for a normal walk. For a sneak, it's very, very effective. 5 out of 6. For for a sprint, this one's better than the last one, but it's still only 2 out of 6. And invisibility was found to be unaffected. Next, it's a little closer. This fence post is 1 higher. It is 4 above the ground. You can bring those pressure plates in a little bit and consolidate that a little bit more. And this one was very effective. With a normal walkthrough, it was 5 out of 6. With a sneak, it was 5 out of 6 also, and with a sprint, this was 4 out of 6. This is one of the best sprints. Now over here, right here, this is 5 blocks above with 1 ocelot. This is the smallest design out of all of them, and it turns out to be pretty effective. So 4 out of 6 with a normal walk. Every single one, 6 out of 6 for a sneak. Every single one, 6 out of 6 for a sprint, which is surprising. And it only uses 1 ocelot. So when this is all over, I think this is going to be the most effective design. It's just 5 blocks above, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That fence post is 5 blocks above the ground. You only need 1 space between the center and the pressure plates, and it's pretty compact, and it's very effective. The next 2 are also pretty effective, but not quite as effective. This one uses 3 ocelots. It is 6 above, and it got 2 out of 6 for normal. It got all of the sneak, and it got 5 out of 6 for the sprint. And last, we have 6 high, which turned out to be just a little bit less effective. It still got 4 normal, and it still got all 6 of the sneak, but it only got half of the sprint. So it turns out this one is the best overall. 5 high, 1 ocelot. And 7 blocks high with that fence makes it completely ineffective. Actually, I suppose you could put a pressure plate here, and it could be a really funny way to get a a continuous bounce, if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for a continuous pulse that doesn't run off of redstone. But that got annoying, so I deleted the pressure plate. So there we have it. We have some cool tests. Pretty soon I will show you some new uses for proximity test. I'll make some tutorials on how to make this pretty practically in a base or in a trap. Very, very easy to conceal. That's why I love this proximity trap. You don't need to press anything. You don't need to step on anything. You just need to be near it, and it will trigger. So, cool stuff. I hope to see you soon on Factions.